I'd been out in the middle of the reserve for days, working through the aftermath of the storm. The sky still held that heavy, damp weight, the kind that makes you feel like you're swimming through air. I was just finishing up the last stretch of clearing debris when my phone buzzed. It was from my mom. "We sold the land near Briar Hollow for $800,000. Don't worry about coming back when your contract ends. The money's ours now." I stood there, rain dripping down my neck, phone in hand, a knot tightening in my chest. Briar Hollow. That was the land my dad had left me, the only thing he gave me before he died. The hunting grounds, the cabin, all of it. Passed down to me. And she sold it? Just like that. No call, no heads up. It wasn't hers to sell. I hadn't told her this, but in the years since, I'd become someone else. My life wasn't about working long, grueling shifts in the field anymore. I had built something. I'd become wealthy building wildfire drone tech. Quietly, without anyone knowing, I had kept tabs on the property. I knew when it would be listed, and I had made sure my company was there to buy it once it went on the market. They thought they had stolen it from me. They hadn't. I was the one who'd gotten the last word. I finished my contract in Florida and boarded a flight back to my home state without saying much to anyone. The quiet of the plane gave me a minute to think, but all I could focus on were the words from my mom's message: the sale, the land, the betrayal. I cracked open the envelope my attorney had sent, flipping through the legal papers while the plane hummed beneath me. The LLC I owned was now listed on the title for the Briar Hollow Tract, the 132 acres of woods and memories, including the cabin. It was mine, officially, all of it. As I skimmed through the documents, I felt a cold weight settle in my chest. My mom had spent her share already, buying a condo in the city, high-rise views, luxury, everything she'd always wanted. My brother had his new Harley and RV. My sister had sunk money into a kitchen remodel. All that money, gone in what? A few months? I didn't care. None of it. I didn't need anything from them anymore. I had my own life now. When I got to the rental car, I didn't waste any time. I punched in the directions and headed straight to Briar Hollow. My hands gripped the wheel as the miles passed, my eyes on the road, but my mind was already there, at the cabin. The place that had been mine, always had been. I pulled off the main highway and turned onto the dirt road that wound up toward the land. As I drove deeper into the trees, I could see it all, everything they'd done. The cabin was barely recognizable. It wasn't just cleaned up, it had been flipped. The old wood was freshly painted, a bright shade of white. The yard had been landscaped, neat rows of flowers lined the path. It looked like a property for sale, some shiny new listing for city folk looking for a weekend retreat. They'd turned it into a showpiece. I slammed the car into park and sat there for a moment, just staring at the place that used to be home. My dad's place. The place I'd spent so many summers running through the woods, fishing with him, feeling like I belonged. Now it was just another flipped house. I reached for my bag, pulled out the old skeleton key my dad had given me when I was 17, and walked up to the front door. It was like a punch in the gut, holding that key in my hand again. It still had that rough edge from years of use, a little worn at the corners. It slid into the lock with a familiar, satisfying click. The door creaked open. The smell hit me first: wood, dust, and something faintly metallic from the renovations. It was still the same layout, the same bones of the place, but the air was different now. New, clean, too clean. I stepped inside, dragging in a breath, and let my eyes settle on the space. It didn't feel like home anymore, not the way it had, not the way it should have. I walked through the living room, the same old fireplace in the corner, but now there was a fresh rug in front of it, brand new, like someone had just dropped it there to make it look authentic. The walls, once filled with the scars of years of use, scrapes, dings, signs of life, had been stripped clean. Everything was too polished, too perfect. I made my way to the old staircase, my feet echoing on the new hardwood floors. Upstairs, Dad's old office was now some kind of guest room, with a bed I'd never seen before, neatly made, the old desk gone. The tacky modern lamps were a slap in the face. I almost couldn't breathe, looking at it all. I walked out onto the small balcony, the same one my dad used to sit on, watching the trees. Below, I could see the trail that led into the woods. He had walked it every morning, rain or shine. The memories swarmed me, too much at once. And for a second, I almost wanted to just pack it all up, leave, pretend none of it had ever happened. But that wasn't an option. I wasn't walking away. Not this time. I was still standing there, taking it all in, when I heard the tires crunching on the gravel outside. A car door slammed. I froze, knowing exactly who it was. The sound of footsteps grew louder, heavy, and rushed. Then the door flung open. She stood there, wide-eyed, breath short from the walk-up. My mom. Her gaze flicked to me, and her face hardened. "What the hell are you doing here?" she demanded, voice tight with disbelief. "You can't just break in. This is trespassing." I didn't flinch. I didn't move. I just looked at her. "It's not trespassing, Mom," I said, letting the words land heavy between us. "I own it." Her eyes narrowed and she gave a short laugh, almost like a snort. "Own it? Don't be ridiculous. I sold this place. It's gone. It's not yours anymore." I didn't bite. I took a step toward her, my voice calm but the anger seeping through. "You sold it without telling me. You didn't have the right to sell it. Dad left it to me." She froze, her expression flickering. "I didn't think you cared about it anymore," she snapped, shifting on her feet. "We were in a tight spot, you know that. Things haven't been easy." She tried to brush it off like it was no big deal, like the sale had been the only option. "We needed the money, okay? Your brother had his stuff. I had mine. What was I supposed to do? Let the bills stack up?" I shook my head, not buying it. "That land wasn't yours to sell. It was mine. He left it to me." Her lips pressed into a thin line, but she didn't back down. "It was always mine to manage. You've been gone for years, working your job. What, with the park and all. I had to do what was best for us." I leaned in, my voice low but cold. "And what about my share of the money?" "Where's that? You sold it for $800,000, but you didn't give me a dime." Her face shifted again, a quick defensive blink. "You weren't here. You don't get to come back and act like you were owed anything. We needed that money to live. Your brother's medical bills, the house, everything. Do you know how hard it's been without your father?" I held up my hand, cutting her off. "I don't care about your excuses. I have all the documents, Mom. I've seen the paper trail. I know exactly what you did." Her eyes darted to the door, and I knew what she was thinking. She'd hoped to hide behind the mess she'd made, pretend it was all justifiable. But I wasn't buying any of it anymore. "You've lied to me long enough. My lawyer is on his way. And if you don't want this to go further, you'd better start explaining exactly what you did with my share of that money." The words hung in the air, thick with tension. She took a step back, trying to regain some control, but her hands were shaking. "You're being unreasonable. You don't understand. This was all for your future, for the family. We thought you were just going to waste away out there." "Don't bring that up now," I interrupted. "I'm not that person anymore. I've been building my own life. I'm not some broke ranger, Mom." Her jaw clenched, eyes flashing with a mixture of guilt and defiance. "I did what I had to do. You don't get to judge me for that." I stared at her, steady and unmoving. "I'm not judging you. I'm telling you I own this place. I'm not asking for your approval, but I am asking you to be honest for once. Where's my share?" She shifted again, clearly uncomfortable with the reality of what I was saying, but she didn't have an answer. Not a real one. "Your lawyer can't fix this," she said, trying one last weak defense. "You don't know what it's like to try and keep this family together after your father's gone." I didn't want to hear it. "This isn't about keeping the family together. This is about the truth. And the truth is, you took what wasn't yours to take. I don't care about your story. I care about the money you owe me, and I care about getting my land back. And if you don't do something about it, my lawyer will." She went quiet, her face pale. Then, almost as if she were trying to hold on to something, "Anything," she muttered. "I didn't think you'd ever come back for it. I didn't think you'd care." I met her eyes, steady. "I always cared. You just never thought I was watching." The tension was thick, hanging between us like the humidity before a storm. My mom stood there, her face pale, eyes darting nervously to the door every few seconds like she was waiting for a way out. I knew the clock was ticking, and she did too. Then the sound of tires on gravel broke the silence. Davis. He arrived a few minutes after my call, tall, neat in his suit, and with that steady confidence that came with knowing exactly how to handle situations like this. He didn't look at me right away. His attention was fixed on the papers he was holding, a formal packet, the kind that left no room for misinterpretation. He stepped inside without hesitation, eyes scanning the room for a second before landing on my mom. "Mrs. Carson," he said, his voice firm but calm. "I'm Davis King, legal counsel for Miss Carson." He handed her a copy of the document he'd been holding. I'm here to inform you that this property is now owned by my clients, LLC. You're currently trespassing. Mom's eyes flicked from the paper to me and back again, a sudden spark of disbelief flashing across her face. Trespassing? That's. She stopped herself, taking a breath. You're joking, right? She can't afford this? She's just a ranger, a field worker. There's no way she can afford a place like this. I watched Davis's jaw tighten, just enough for it to be noticeable. He was the kind of guy who didn't let emotions show, but I could tell he was trying to keep it professional. He cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, and turned toward her. Actually, Ms. Carson's company had $60 million in revenue last year, so yes, she can afford this place. Her jaw dropped, and I could see her scrambling to make sense of it. The look on her face was pure shock, eyes wide, lips pressed together, like she couldn't quite process what Davis had just said. The idea that I wasn't some broke park ranger, just some kid out there in the woods, lost and forgotten, was finally hitting her. You're, what? She stammered, voice cracking. You're telling me. She didn't finish the thought, but her disbelief was palpable. I stayed quiet, watching her unravel. She'd never really known what I'd been up to. The truth was she'd never asked. Davis, professional as ever, handed her the formal notice. This document serves as a 30-day notice to vacate the property. If you do not comply, we will proceed with legal action. We can also discuss damages for unauthorized sale of the land at that point. The weight of his words landed hard, the finality in his voice settling like lead. My mom's face drained of color, and she took a step back, almost like she was physically staggering under the impact. She muttered something, her voice almost too quiet to hear. Please, don't do this. Her eyes shot to me, pleading. You don't understand. We've lost so much already. The condo, the car payments, everything. Her words tangled together, like she was trying to explain herself. But the excuses were running out. I didn't flinch. You had no right to sell it, Mom. You had no right to take my share. But she reached for a moment of desperation. I did it for you, for the family. You were never around. You never came back. You gave up on us. Her voice cracked as she took a step toward me. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought you didn't care about any of it anymore. I held her gaze, unwavering. You never asked me. You never gave me the chance to say otherwise. My voice didn't waver. You thought I was just a field worker, that I'd never come back for this. But I'm not that person anymore. This land, it was always mine. You sold it, and now I'm taking it back. Her eyes shifted again, the raw panic creeping in. You don't have to do this. You don't need to be so harsh. I was just trying to make sure we survived. Please? Her hands wrung together, and for the first time, I saw her vulnerability. It wasn't just the guilt or regret, it was fear. Fear of losing everything. But it didn't change anything. I shook my head, my resolve hardening. Number, I'm not backing down. You sold something that wasn't yours to sell. You took money that wasn't yours to take. You need to give it back, or I'll make sure you pay for it. I could see the defeat in her eyes, the reality of the situation starting to sink in. She opened her mouth to say something, maybe plead for more time, but the words didn't come. She just stood there, staring at Davis, then at me, knowing there was nothing left to say. Davis nodded toward her. You have 30 days to vacate. After that, we'll begin the process of recovery. If you don't comply, we'll pursue further action. I watched my mom crumble, but I didn't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. It wasn't about revenge. It was about doing what was right, about taking back what was mine. I turned to Davis. We're done here. Let's go. As we walked toward the door, I heard my mom's voice behind us, a soft, broken plea. Please don't make me lose everything. But I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I hadn't even made it back into town when my phone lit up with Josh's name. I let it ring twice before picking up. Why the hell is Mom crying like someone died? He snapped, skipping hello. She just called me sobbing. Something about lawyers and eviction. What the hell's going on? I kept my eyes on the road, Bluetooth running through the speakers. She sold the land illegally. That cabin and those 132 acres were left to me, always were. She had no right to touch it. You're serious right now? He scoffed. She said you're trying to kick her out of the only place she's got left. I gritted my teeth. She's got a high-rise condo, Josh. Paid in full with my money? That's not fair. We didn't know. Didn't know what? I cut in. That she sold something that wasn't hers? That you spent stolen money on a damn Harley and RV? Don't start with the innocent act. You were part of it. There was a pause on the line, just air and static. He finally spoke, quieter. We thought it was hers. We thought it was family property, like all of ours. Number you assumed. Big difference, I shot back. You didn't even ask. You didn't check. You just helped her drain the account like it was a free-for-all. His tone shifted, trying to sound hurt now. Come on, we're family. You really gonna lawyer up on your own mother? Don't pull that card, I snapped. Family? I've been family this whole damn time. Where was that energy when I paid your medical bills 3 years ago? Or when I wired $10,000 so Amanda could cover her last semester? Or when I handed Mom the deposit for that condo she's crying about? He didn't answer. Exactly, I said. I've been funding this family in silence for years. And the second you all thought I was just some broke field worker who disappeared into the woods, you cashed out the one thing that mattered to me, my inheritance. You didn't even flinch. Josh sighed into the phone, heavy and slow. We didn't think you'd care. You always acted like you were done with all of us. I was done trying to be heard, I said. I stayed quiet because no one ever listened. I worked my ass off to build something real, and instead of seeing that, you all saw an easy target, someone too far away to fight back. I didn't know, he said, almost like he meant it. We thought you just, you gave up, moved on, never thought you were making bank out there. That's the thing, I said. You never thought. You never gave me enough credit to imagine I could build something bigger than this damn family ever did. Another long silence. I didn't mean to take your share, he said, voice low now. I didn't know the whole story. Well, now you do. I slowed the car, turning onto a quieter street. I'm not playing the quiet daughter anymore. I'm not going to sit back while you guys blow through what wasn't yours. He was quiet, and I knew he didn't have a comeback, not one that mattered. You should talk to Mom, he said finally. She's not okay. She's got 30 days, I replied. Tell her to use them wisely. I hung up. The phone didn't stay quiet for long. Less than an hour after hanging up on Josh, Amanda's name lit up my screen. I didn't even hesitate this time. I was already bracing for it. I answered, Yeah? What the hell is going on? She snapped, skipping right past hello. Mom's in tears, Josh is freaking out, and I just found out you own some company? Since when? I pulled over into a gas station lot and leaned back in the seat. Since 5 years ago. It's a wildfire drone startup. We map high-risk zones, support emergency response. It's not a secret. I just didn't bother explaining it to people who never asked. Don't give me that, she shot back. You let everyone think you were out there digging ditches for a living. I almost laughed. No, you let everyone think that. You're the one who used to roll your eyes every time I came home dirty. Remember that? Oh, look who's back from the swamp. Or must be nice to chase squirrels for minimum wage. That was a joke. No, Amanda, it wasn't. You made it pretty damn clear what you thought of me. She went quiet for half a beat, then softened her voice just a notch. Why didn't you tell us? You've been building some big-shot company while we thought you were broke. I didn't owe you my resume. I was too busy paying off Josh's hospital bill and helping Mom with her condo deposit. I sent you tuition money your senior year because your scholarship fell short. You remember that? Her voice cracked a little. Yeah? I didn't know that came from you. Exactly, I said, because I never made a show of it. I helped because I wanted to, and because I thought we were still family. She let out a shaky breath. Okay, I get it, but you don't have to kick Mom out over this. Please, she's scared. She should be. She sold my land behind my back, lied about it, and spent my share of the money. That's not just shady, that's theft. I'm not saying she was right. Then don't act like I'm the villain here, I snapped. She's got 30 days. That's already more than she gave me when she decided to screw me over. She's our mother. And I'm your sister, I shot back. And that never stopped any of you from burning me out of the one thing Dad left me. She didn't argue. If you and Josh really want to fix this, I said, voice flat, then start with returning the money. Sell the Harley. Cancel the kitchen remodel. Stop spending like you won the lottery. Amanda didn't respond right away. I could hear her breathing, like she was still working out if she was more angry or ashamed. She's old, okay? She said finally. She didn't think you'd care. Well, she was wrong. I pulled back onto the road. And now she gets to live with the consequences. I just wish you'd told us who you really were, I scoffed. I did. You just never listened. Mom was still sitting on the edge of the old couch when I came back in. The place was too quiet now. Davis had left, and the sound of his car backing down the gravel drive had faded. All that was left was her breathing. Short, uneven, and the way she kept her hands folded tight in her lap, like she needed to stop them from shaking. I walked past her and pulled out one of the wooden chairs from the kitchen table, sat across from her. No small talk, no easing into it. She didn't look up at first, just stared at the floor. I never thought you'd come back, she said finally, voice low and scratchy. Not for this. I didn't move. You didn't think I'd care. She looked up then. Her eyes were red but dry. You were gone for so long. You barely called. We thought you'd moved on. You had your life out in Florida, your job. I was watching, I said. Even from a distance, I kept tabs on this place, on you. I knew the land was listed before you did. I was just waiting. Waiting for what? For the truth, I said flat, to see how far you'd go. And you didn't disappoint. She flinched like I'd slapped her. It wasn't about hurting you. You sold the only thing Dad left me, without a word, then spent my share like it was free money. We needed it, she said quickly. Everything was tight. Josh's bills, Amanda's tuition. I had to get out of that house. The plumbing was falling apart, the roof leaked. I held up my hand. Don't throw the family struggle story at me like it explains anything. Her jaw locked. We felt left behind, okay? You were out there doing something with your life. We were stuck. I leaned forward. And that gives you the right to steal from me? I didn't think it was stealing. You didn't think at all, I shot back. You saw a chance to cash out, and you took it. You didn't ask. You didn't tell me. You just signed the papers and celebrated. She was silent. I reached into my bag and pulled out a small folder, set it on the table between us. What's that? She asked. Bank records, LLC filings, title transfer, proof of ownership, and estimates on potential damages. This folder says you broke the law. You wouldn't, she whispered. You wouldn't take this to court. I didn't blink. Return the money, or I will. She looked sick. Her mouth opened, then closed again like she didn't know which excuse to pick. I can't get all of it back. It's gone. Spent. Then figure it out, I said. Start selling things, make calls, cut checks. I don't care how. But I want it back. Her eyes narrowed. You've got money. You said it yourself. Why does this even matter to you? Because it's mine, I said. Because I worked my ass off while you pretended I didn't exist. And when I finally had something to call my own, you wiped it out like it was nothing. She put her head in her hands. I just didn't think you'd be this cold. I'm not cold, I said. I'm done. I stood up and walked to the door. Her head shot up. You're serious? She asked. I turned back, met her eyes one last time. 30 days. After that, you deal with my lawyer, not me. Mom didn't argue again after that. She didn't call, didn't show up, didn't try to talk her way out of it. She just left. Over the next few weeks, I saw the ripple effect start to hit. Josh was first. He sold the Harley. That was gone in 2 days. The RV took a little longer, but it was listed fast and priced to move. I checked the site out of curiosity. He took a loss, no doubt. Then I got a wire transfer from his bank for just under $200,000. No note, no apology, just the money. Amanda followed not long after. The contractor she'd been using on the kitchen called me by mistake. Thought I was the bank. Said work had been paused indefinitely. I didn't answer. Later that week, Amanda sent a screenshot of a loan disbursement and her contribution amount, $165,000. She was trying to play it calm, but I could tell she was stretched thin. Then there was Mom. I drove past the condo one night just to see if she was still there. Lights off, blinds shut, looked cold and empty. A week later, I got a text from Josh saying she'd moved. No address, just, she's out. 1 bedroom off 90 near the airport. She sold off the furniture first, then the jewelry, then the last of what was left in her savings. The payments started to come in bit by bit, each one labeled with her name and nothing else. By the end of the month, they'd scraped together $640,000. I met with Davis and went over every detail. Legally, I could have pressed harder, dragged them into court, pulled interest, squeezed them for full damages. But I didn't. I accepted a payment plan for the rest. No discounts, no deals. They had $60,000 left to cover, and I gave them a year. Terms signed, agreed, notarized. Amanda called after everything was finalized. She sounded tired, humbled. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for not, you know, going further." I didn't give her some long, soft answer, just told her the truth. This was never about the money. She didn't say anything. "It's about principle," I said. "It was mine, and all of you knew it." She whispered, "Yeah, we did." I hung up without saying goodbye. None of them ever said sorry. Not really. They showed it in other ways, selling off pieces of the life they built on my back, reversing course on the mess they made, but they never spoke the words. And honestly, I didn't need them to. I didn't do this to hear them beg. I did it so they'd never forget who they underestimated. The first day I stepped back into the cabin as its rightful owner, the sun was barely up. The air smelled like pine and damp earth. I unlocked the front door with the same skeleton key my dad handed me when I was 17. Same smooth groove, same weight in my palm. It still worked like nothing had changed. But everything had. I didn't waste time. Within a week, we started the conversion. The upstairs got stripped out. Goodbye, fake guest room. Goodbye, cheap decor. My crew installed testing tables, ceiling mounts for drone racks, custom wiring for our fire mapping systems. Floor-to-ceiling whiteboards on one side, soundproofed workspace on the other. Downstairs became mine. Clean desk, dual screens, drafting tools. A data rig we used for real-time wildfire mapping. In the corner, right where it always was, I left Dad's old flannel hanging on the hook. His tackle box sat beneath it, rusted but untouched. I didn't touch the hearthstone either. Still had the chip in the corner where I once tripped running in from a thunderstorm. The team loved the location. Quiet, wild, and away from the noise. Most of them flew in once a month, stayed in town, then drove up the hill with gear and laptops. No one asked about the personal history. I didn't offer it. My family stayed gone, civil but distant. Amanda sent a text once. Just a photo of her loan receipt, no caption. Josh sent a thumbs up when the payment cleared one quarter. Mom never reached out again. That was fine. I didn't need their visits. I didn't need their voices in these walls. The land was mine again, in every way that counted. Every morning, before the sun broke through the trees, I walked the woods. The trail was still there, worn just enough. The trees hadn't changed much, neither had the birdsong. I'd walk all the way to the back ridge, breathe in deep, and let the silence settle into my bones. This place, these acres, this cabin, I earned it back inch by inch. Not by begging, not by screaming, by building, watching, waiting. I didn't reclaim it to hold on to the past. I did it to protect what was mine. And now, every time I turned that old key in the lock, I remembered exactly why I never let go.